Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. I was sitting and I was thinking about Barack Obama. Barack Obama, right there in a major university, studying a major interest, law, and comes to Chicago and get out in the community, organize, talking stuff. And I heard the young man was talking stuff even in college to the extent they made him editor, if I'm not mistaken, of that legal document. I'm not sure what it is right now. You've heard of it. And now he's in Chicago, and I'm sure others have heard of him, but I'm sure that this guy was very ambitious, wanting to move and do things. But he also looks like he's cool, and he's a brother that has had to go through some changes like many of us brothers do. And he might have done some things that he perhaps might not be that proud of. And somehow, some way, somebody knows about it, and the powers that be knows about it. And so they saw something special in Barack Obama in edging their agenda on. Now, Obama, I'm sure, was thinking that he was going to be able to come into the White House and do exactly what all of the people who voted for Barack Obama thought he was going to be able to do. All of you were so very excited. Barack Obama, the savior of the world, and you stood up, you stood proudly. You were so glad because he did have one hell of a message. But now you are dissatisfied almost as much as you were with George Bush, because everything seemed to turn out so wrong, so bad. And now you got some other people prompting before you to say that they are this and they are that. But I bet when Barack came in that house, in that White House, and he was ready to do his thing, he found that there were some people there that just didn't really welcome him. You know the story. I won't even take it any further than that. But not only did he experience that, he found out that what he thought this man of the White House, this powerful figure, and I'm sure he was quite well aware of the limitations that the president has, but that he'd be able to feel superior, supreme in that office. And he would be able to achieve the things that he had imagined that he would be able to achieve. He found out that wasn't so. See, the reason it wasn't so is because the powers that be, and now when I say the powers that be, I'm talking about, let me put it straight to you just like this. I'm talking about the richest people on earth. Not everybody, but the richest people on earth. The trillionaires and multi-trillionaires, those guys, they run things. They run things because the world is shaped up in such a way that everything you want, need, and desire calls money. They make sure they put some tabs on it. And so they have you working all the time, so you really don't have anything, no life but your job. And many of you don't even like your jobs, but you have to do it because you want to live. And so you get caught in that trap, and you need that money. And so there we are, all of us who adhere to that particular principle. And that's capitalism. But now in other countries where they got socialism and communism, or whatever you might want to call it, the end result in each one is the same. So what is happening is that we are hearing somebody tell us what we want to hear, and then acting like they had some secrets that no one knew about and they would not divulge. But now that secret, that movement that is designed by someone who's using their particular office to do their own thing, and to hell with us except use us. You see, and he found that it was fall in line, as they tell everybody, fall in line or you gonna die. The problem is that so many of us just fall in line. President, just fall in line. They smile and skin and grin and say, I can be president all over again. Look how I pull that fast one. But the people who really care about you, who really care about the population, they will never get any funding to run for office unless they're being used as a tool to carry out the agenda of the others. Now, I say that because I think I kind of been tapped a little bit. I was watching my computer the other day, well, about a month now, and I saw behind the screen that the page that I was watching, and I saw something come up on the screen from way from the back. It had nothing to do with the page that I was on. It had to do straight from the computer, and it came straight back, straight from the back up to the front, and it was saying Jesus is a black man. Well, it didn't say this. That's what it read as a banner, and it read Jesus is a black man. And then the next statement it made was a statement that identified that he was talking, that sign was speaking exactly to everybody who think just like that. And I was one. Everybody that thinks just like that. So here we are, caught in the midst. And the thing that I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, because my time is tight. That tapping says, and I started thinking, is somebody trying to send me a message? Well, you know, ladies and gentlemen, that I've always talked about peace and prosperity and joy for everyone. That's the same message that the New World Order is championing. They say the same thing: housing, education, and the health care, no more wars and all that kind of stuff. They say the same things, the identical things. But let me tell you the difference. To operate theirs requires money. It requires the usage of money. And even if they take money off the table and start using the card, it's the same thing, even now. And then they have total control over everything you do, because they got control over your money. And they can do any and everything to you that they want to do, whether you like it or not. This is what they will end up doing. Now, I know you will probably don't believe that because you haven't heard that on the major news media. You haven't heard it on TV, you haven't heard it on radio, you haven't read it in the papers. And you haven't been on the internet except to do Facebook and laugh around and make friends. You haven't really used the internet as a tool to magnify your mind, to reach out and learn something. Because there are people all over the world that are sharing information with us, with one another, that we have never known. Histories that we have never known. And some perspectives that allows us to generate our own imaginations. Well, I say that that way of life represents what I talk to you about. Every man, woman, and child. And the way this happens is that you recognize that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and all those things that are used to do the things that humankind do, the earth provides it. Somewhere, either in the earth, on the earth, above the earth, seen or unseen. But it's provided for. And all we have are the gifts that have been given us. Each of us got various gifts, and some of us dig, some of us run, some of us fly. Some of us make food, houses. We do everything. That's why we were made. We were made to do that. Can you imagine you having a need for a home, and you have to go and build that home? Build that home. And all the work and all that you put into it, you have to build it. Now, what is your pay for building that home? Is somebody paying you, or are you building something that you need? You're building something that you need. And that, when it's complete, is your reward for building your house. Now just think about billions of people that are in that business, whether it's providing materials, bringing materials forth, whatever. But they play a part in making it possible for a magnitude of houses to be built. In fact, enough houses for everybody on earth to have houses. because that's what you love doing, and you're so glad that you have the opportunity to do it. But that gets you a house, and that gets everybody else a house. But somebody else over here is taking care of food. And what's their reward for doing what they love to do, for creating food? What is it? It's food. And yet there are so many other people, because all people got the need for food, and there are so many people within these families who love to do just that. And when they put it together like that, hey, all kinds of food. Well, my point of it is this. This is the way God's plan works. This is the way I see God's plan working. And in it, everybody's happy, except maybe somebody who wants to have control over you and abuse you. That's what you're going to get from the New World Order. This is what God is offering to you. But the choice is yours. So far, you have always chosen. Now, what I want you to do is that this presidential election, I want you to go to your polls and don't vote for any of those other candidates. They can do nothing for you. Every last one of them works against you, even when they think they're doing good. And write in God for president. Just write it in, God for president. We'll talk about this further. All right, bye-bye.